Bag Truth Seeker, September 25th, 2018. This morning had a nice person purchase the book, Letters and Numbers. She gave me an extra donation and asked if I could look into the death of David Kelly. He was the weapons inspector, the scientist who supposedly committed suicide 2 days after giving some testimony about the matter of no weapons of mass destruction being found in Iraq after the United States and the UK invaded Iraq on the premise that there were weapons of mass destruction there. And part of the controversy was David Kelly had spoken to a BBC journalist, a 223 journalist, that big number with Masonry, and he'd said to that journalist that the report of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and the threat they posed to the UK had been sexed up, meaning they had been dramatized, extra drama, extra fear for the agenda of invading. So I'm going to show you that this man was murdered July 17th and that he was killed by Freemasonry, which controls the UK government, the US government, and the majority of the governments of the world. If you've ever heard that phrase, the New World Order, which these politicians often use, the New World Order is a Masonic world order, and they work by a secret code of letters, numbers, and dates in the calendar year. So we're going to talk about why he died 64 days after his birthday, why he died July 17th, and why he died at the age of 59, and what his death had to do with Tony Blair at the time. So, July 17th, let's start there. Modern Masonry began in London in the year 1717, and not by accident. Mason equals 17 in Gematria, the Masonic practice coding numbers and words, comes from Kabbalah. Mason 17, the word kill 17, and we see a lot of people die in connection to this number. This man who was killed and had his death blamed on a suicide, which we'll get to, he was 59 years old. 59 is the 17th prime number. In Jewish gematria, the word kill also sums to 59. So 59, the 17th prime, dead on July 17th, the 17th day of the 7th month. 17 is the 7th prime, and if you're familiar with the Freemason logo, which we're getting to, the symbol is a G surrounded by instruments of geometry. G's the 7th letter. So anyhow, London, England has the Gematria of 59. Again, the birthplace of modern Freemasonry. Notice that Freemasonry and London, England both have Gematria of 59. If you're new here, these are two of our 4-base ciphers. The difference between the dark blue and the light blue cipher: the dark blue cipher is the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, up to Z is 26. But once the letters get to double digits, such as J, J's not worth 10 anymore. It's the numerology of 10. So 1 plus 0 is 1. J becomes 1. K, the 11th letter, 11 becomes 1 plus 1 is 2. L, the 12th letter, becomes 1 plus 2 is 3. Up to Z, the 26th letter, which becomes 2 plus 6 is 8. So this dark blue cipher, you use the alphabetic order, and you make each letter a single-digit number using the rules of numerology. This lighter blue cipher is the alphabetic order in reverse using the rules of numerology. So Z is 1, Y is 2, X is 3, all the way back to A, which would be the 26th letter, but then you take the numerology of 26, 2 plus 6 is 8. So, you learn these ciphers, you can see through a lot. London, England, Freemasonry, both 59. The 58 is also very important too. But what's interesting about 59 is in the Hebrew alphabet, where this code of letters and numbers is originally studied, Freemasonry also sums to 59. 59, the 17th prime. Modern Masonry began in London, England in 1717. And not only that, but the date that modern Freemasonry began was June 24th, 17, a date with 47 numerology. 6 plus 24 plus 17 equals 47. And I should mention there's another path that you can take. You can add 6 plus 24 plus 17 plus 17. It was also a date with 64 numerology, we're going to talk about how this man, David Kelly, died 64 days after his birthday. But I want to stick with 47. Why did modern Freemasonry begin on a date with 47 numerology? Well, it goes to their symbolism. Their logo with the capital G, the seventh letter. One more time, Mason 17. 17, the seventh prime. G, the seventh letter. Instruments of geometry around the G, geometry. Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, means geometry and language. And if you've never seen my videos on the word geometry and all that's encoded into that, be sure to check it out. Or even better yet, pick up my book, 773 pages long, $5, not because it's a cheap book, but because I want everyone to be able to afford to read it, rich and poor. Everyone who speaks English deserves to know that code, this code. But in the book, there's a very long chapter on sacred geometry, gematria, and the English language, and your mind will be blown. Anyway, 47 degrees on the compass because it's a tribute to the 47th problem of Euclid about how to establish foundation. The word foundation has gematria 47. Think about the United States of America that supposedly got free of the United Kingdom and its birthday, the 4th day of the 7th month, not arbitrary. Foundation 47. So, the word suicide also has gematria 47, and the date David Kelly died, July 17th, 2003, 7 plus 17 plus 20 plus 03, 47. What a day for a suicide. What a day for a Freemason killing. I should have mentioned that the word killing also has gematria 47. Again, in my book, Letters and Numbers, the longest chapter is Murder by Numbers. We go over these very repetitive patterns, all the people who've died by these same numbers, same causes of death, blamed again and again, suicide, etc. So there's 4 base ciphers: the alphabetic order, forwards, backwards, and the alphabetic order, forwards and backwards with the rules of numerology, which we went over. If you just use the alphabetic order and you don't reduce the letters, it's one less computation, a little bit more straightforward. When you flip the alphabetic order around, New World Order sums to 177. And think about the date, July 17th, 17/7. Think about George Herbert Walker Bush, September 11th, 1990, giving the speech about a new world order, a world freer of terrorism. And then 11 years later, his son's the president of the United States, and we get the 9/11 attack, where in the United States, 911's the emergency dialing code. Out of that attack is what came the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, which all of this story is connected to. New World Order. Look up the headline from the New York Times, October 6th, 1940. New World Order pledged to Jews. See my video on why that headline came that date and what happened to the man who was responsible for that headline. You'll see just how long this code's been used and how things have been done by the numbers 4. Understand, this code of letters and numbers, it comes from Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah, which Freemasonry is invested in. Freemasonry is very much Jewish. If you have Netflix, watch the newer documentary Inside the Freemasons. You won't have enough pencils in your house and enough paper to keep track of all the Star of Davids on the screen. The Seal of Solomon, now known as the Star of David. Star of David equals 47. Israel recognized as a nation by the United Nations in the year 47, on the 333rd day for a very specific reason. Remember, after 9/11, it was Ehud Barak, the leader of Israel, who went to the United States and said the day after 9/11 that a war needed to be declared on terrorism and we needed to go after these same nations that we did, including Afghanistan and Iraq. So, from David Kelly's birthday, which was May 14th, to his death on July 17th at the age of 59, was 64 days later. When you flip the alphabetic order around, the word kill equals 64. Some other important 64s, Zion equals 64. Freemasonry is very much Zionist. Israel equals 64, the Zionist nation. There's also this occult religion called Thelema, which is related. Thelema has the gematria 64. Their motto, do what thou wilt, also sums to 64. So anyhow, not arbitrary that he died 64 days after his birthday. His name, David Kelly, a lot of things jump out. These are our 4 base ciphers: the alphabetic order, the dark green, the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. Notice the 105, like Masonry. Notice the 42, like Freemason. Zionism's also 42 in that cipher. So mote it be, the Masonic motto, 42. Notice the 165 in his name, Scottish Rite 165. Notice the 57 in his name, Scottish Rite 57. His name couldn't be any more Masonic. His initials DK, D's the 4th letter, K's the 11th. In the Satanic cipher, which is an important cipher to learn, Freemason equals 411. The way the Satanic Gematria cipher works is really interesting, and it shows you how well thought out the English language is. What you do in the Satanic cipher is you start with A as the 36th letter, and then you just count from 36 up. B's 37, C's 38, D's 39, so on. But the reason they started at A with 36 is because 666 is the 36th triangular number. And if you write out Satanic Gematria in the Satanic Gematria cipher, it sums to 666. Not coincidental. In the Satanic Gematria cipher, Z becomes the 61st value. Z equals 61. 61 is the 18th prime. 18 factors into 6 plus 6 plus 6. Think about Revelation 13:18 about the man with wisdom will know how to calculate the number of the beast, 666. That verse is Revelation 13:18. 13 is the 6th prime. The number of the beast is the number of a man. Man's made on the 6th day in the Bible, the first perfect number. Revelation 13:18. 13 factors to 6. 18 factors to 6. Or 13 is the 6th prime, excuse me. 18 factors to 6 plus 6 plus 6. So for one last point, David Kelly, when he died, Tony Blair had just turned 50 years old, and it was Tony Blair's 73rd day of being his age when this man supposedly committed suicide. Now understand, the word Mason has gematria of 73, the word sacrifice 73, the word ritual sacrifice 73, and David Kelly's remarks to the BBC equals 223. Well, it breaks down to 223. B's the second letter, B's the second, C's the third. Masonic and Jewish gematria is 223. The synagogue of Satan equals 223 with the alphabetic order. Masonry, Zionism connected. The Zionist movement from the end of Revelation is the synagogue of Satan. But anyway, David Kelly's remarks to the BBC journalists reflected poorly on Tony Blair more than anyone. So, just understand, people in the UK, Masonry comes from your land. This whole code is executed worldwide. It's why English has been spread as the language of the New World Order. Every day, news across the globe carried out this way. Murders, propaganda, false flag shootings, contrived terrorism. It's all done this way. And I figured it out because of September 11th, 2001. I was 18 years old then, just barely 18, and I knew something was definitely wrong. We had a crackhead for a president, the son of the last Republican president. If you can recall, he was the 43rd president of the United States of America, the 43rd. His father was the 43rd vice president. His brother was the 43rd governor of Florida. The election in the United States came down to Florida, where his brother was the governor. Florida in Gematria equals 43. So does Yale. Him and his father, the presidents, are both members of Yale's Skull and Bones. Masonic also has the Gematria 43. Killing also has the Gematria 43. So, we'll leave it there. Until next time.